Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Tina Lyons, and I am the Industry Marketing Manager here at Sopheon. I will be your host throughout today's presentation. From the entire team at Sopheon, we thank you for taking the time to join us today. Our presenter has packaged a lot of insightful and practical information into today's session, titled A Look at the Ideal Innovation Management Process Architecture in Chemical Organizations. Today we will start with briefly discussing what defines both the chemical industry and innovation management in general, and then we will move on to discuss why enterprise innovation management is so crucial. Once that foundation is laid, the presentation will really dig into the practical innovation management processes, including building an architecture that includes various process models, leveraging KPIs and data to create visibility, and defining the rules of governance that can add discipline to the innovation process and help drive your decision-making. I'm really excited to have our presenter online with us today. Huub Rutten is not only Sopheon's Vice President of Product Research and Design, but he is also one of Sopheon's co-founders. With that said, you can imagine Huub has a genuine enthusiasm for working with the processes that help organizations drive innovation performance. And I think that enthusiasm will be obvious today as you hear Huub speak. Huub has more than 20 years of experience in linguistics and language management, and he combines that with his IT expertise to innovate the use of language management technology within these knowledge-intensive business processes. Huub has partnered with quite a few of today's leading chemical companies to help define best practices and solutions that add structure around the innovation and MPD process and really help drive innovation performance, ultimately helping organizations achieve tangible and sustainable business results through those innovation efforts. Huub, I'm really looking forward to your session today, and with that, the floor is now yours.
Thank you, Tina. You promised a lot to the audience, I think. I will do my best to fulfill that promise. I can tell you a webinar is like talking into a kind of a dark space, and you have to imagine the audience, and you have to imagine that they are listening to you and are interactive with you. I will do my best to think about that and imagine how the listeners and the watchers into this webinar will react to it. If I'm not communicative, then okay, I will hear that later. I will do my best. Look at the title of this thing. A look at ideal innovation management process architecture in chemical organizations. Indeed, I work quite a lot with chemical organizations, and I like that a lot because chemical organizations, in my view, are in the heart of innovation of the world and the world's problems. And I'm working with them. I have developed a kind of a, let's say, best practice model, optimal model. So my dream would always be to have a chemical company somewhere that would have put it together in an ideal way. That is not the case yet, but our companies are on their way. So innovation management process architectures, as ideal as I see it, that is what I would like to communicate to you, and you can see for your own company where you are around that. So I will introduce first some concepts to you so that we speak the same language. Then some definitions, then best practice, and at the end I will give you a kind of maturity path, and you could see for your own company or department or business unit where you are against that path. And I hope that that is useful for you and that you can bring that home to do some considerations and some thinking. Let me give you a little bit of theory to make sure that we have a common frame of reference. First of all, what is chemical industry? You know, and if you want to know what that is, there are many books that write about it. But if you go into sources like Wikipedia, what have you, you will find definitions like these. First of all, it delivers products. The industry delivers products that look like these. You have basic chemicals, life sciences, specialty chemicals, consumer products. Of course, there's also petrochemicals, sources, feedstock that deliver into these. In these, sometimes it's not seen as chemical, sometimes it is seen as chemical. So you deliver this kind of products, very much B2B, a little bit B2C, to all kinds of industries that innovate with these materials. There's a range of sciences and disciplines supporting the creation and production of these products. Chemistry, chemical engineering, nanotechnologies, biotechnologies, mechanical engineering, and so on. If you go into a chemical company, you will always find all these high-level experts that work on something new. And in the middle somewhere is always a lab. That's why you have, if you go into milk factories, I always see that as some food companies. I also like to see them as chemical almost. In the medical industry, you have a lot of chemical. So where there's a lab and where you have all these kinds of disciplines around it, I like to be there because I know that is where the pot of innovation of the world mostly is. Chemical industry has mostly, sometimes outsourced, but they do have manufacturing processes and plants. So we have products, often presented as raw materials, functions, properties, features that are sold into the market, and you have processes that create these things, that can make them. Well, if you look at the applications, another word that is quite key, these materials are used in many applications in many industries. I don't have you give the examples that the chemical people in the audience will understand that for themselves. So if you go into innovation and you take innovation in relation to applications, you have to relate it to your market segments. And here you see some examples of market segments.